Hello students, this is the part 4 of our chapter Gravitation. Till our previous parts, we have learnt about what is the acceleration due to gravity and how the various factors like shape of earth, altitude and depth affect the value of acceleration due to gravity. In this part, we will see some numerical problems and also derive equations of motion for free fall. But before going in detail with this part, let us understand difference between capital G and small g. You know, capital G is the universal gravitational constant and small g is known as acceleration due to gravity. So based on some parameters, we differentiate these two quantities. The parameters are definition, SI unit, numerical value, variation, zero value and quantity. So first let us differentiate capital G and small g based on their definition. So universal gravitational constant is defined as the force of attraction acting between two bodies, each of unit mass separated by unit distance. Now students, you know from where does this definition come? From the universal of gravitation, you know that the force of attraction between two objects of masses m1 and m2 is given by capital G m1 m2 divided by r square. Now suppose there are two masses of unit mass which are separated by a unit distance. Then in place of m1 and m2 we can put 1 unit, and also in place of r we can put 1. So if here we put 1 and in place of m1 and m2 also we put 1, then what we get? We get F equals to capital G. So from here we define that the universal gravitational constant is the force of attraction which is acting between two unit masses separated by unit distance. So I hope it is clear. In the same way, acceleration due to gravity is defined as it is the acceleration produced in a body when it falls freely under the effect of gravity alone. So you know, when an object is falling freely under the effect of gravity alone, then the acceleration is produced in that body, and that acceleration is known as acceleration due to gravity. Why it is known as acceleration due to gravity? Because that acceleration is produced because of the gravity alone. So this is the definition of acceleration due to gravity. Now let us see the next difference based on SI unit. So students, you know that the SI unit of universal gravitational constant is Newton meter square per kilogram square. You know from where does it come? Again from the same formula. We have F is equals to capital G m1 m2 divided by r square. When you rearrange this equation, then what you get? G is equals to fr square divided by m1 m2. Now you know unit of F is Newton, unit of r is meter, here r square, so we have meter square, divided by unit of mass, that is kilogram, but there are two masses, so we have kilogram square. So the unit of G is Newton meter square per kilogram square. I hope it is clear. Now SI unit of acceleration due to gravity. You know acceleration due to gravity is an acceleration, so its SI unit is meter per second square. Now the third difference is based on their numerical value. The numerical value of universal gravitational constant, which is determined by a scientist Henry Cavendish, is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11 Newton meter square per kilogram square. And the value of acceleration due to gravity that I have calculated in our previous part is 9.8 meter per second square on the surface of Earth. The next difference is based on variation. You know, as universal gravitational constant capital G is universal constant, so it does not vary at any place. That's why it has same value at all places. But acceleration due to gravity, it varies from place to place. Now the next is zero value. Now students, can universal gravitational constant be zero? No. Universal gravitational constant can never be zero. But acceleration due to gravity can be zero. And you know where does it become zero? At the center of the earth. Now the last difference is based on quantity. So universal gravitational constant, it is a scalar quantity, and acceleration due to gravity, it is a vector quantity. So I hope these differences are clear to you. Now let us see gravitational force acting between an object and the earth. Now students, what we are going to understand in this part. You know that there is gravitational force of attraction between every object and the earth. So you are able to see that the object is moving towards the earth, but why we are not able to see the earth is moving towards the object? Why the earth is not accelerating towards the object? So in this part, we will see mathematically why the earth is not accelerating towards the object. Here you can see that there is an object of mass m which is situated on the surface of the earth. So there is a force of attraction between the object and the earth. And both the object and earth are attracting each other with the same force, but in opposite direction. So we are able to see that the object is moving towards the earth, but we cannot see the earth is moving towards the object. So let us understand why. So here, when an object of mass m situated on or near the surface of earth of mass capital M, the gravitational force between them is given by capital G, capital M mass of earth, small m mass of object divided by capital R, that is radius of earth square. Let us say this is equation number 1. So basically this is the force of attraction which is acting between this object and the earth. Now, here you know that the object and earth both experience same force of magnitude. Also, I have represented here with the help of arrow. Both are experiencing the same force but in opposite direction. So if there is force, then there must be an acceleration. Now we are going to calculate the acceleration of the object and acceleration of the earth. On the basis of acceleration, we will decide why the earth is not moving towards the object. Now let us find the acceleration produced in the object. According to Newton's second law of motion, you know that the force is given as product of mass and acceleration. From that, we can calculate the acceleration of the object as force divided by mass of the object. Here mass of the object is small m and force we have calculated in the equation number 1. So if we divide the equation 1 by mass of object, that is small m, then we will get the value of acceleration produced in the object. Now let us see. If we divide this equation by small m, then you know small m and small m cancel out each other, and what we have, capital G, capital M divided by capital R square. So this is the acceleration produced in the object. Let us understand. Also I have written here capital F, that is value of capital F is capital G capital M divided by R square and whole divided by mass of the object small m. So what we get here, small m and small m cancel out and we have capital G capital M divided by capital R square. And you know this quantity is equals to acceleration due to gravity, whose value is 9.8 meter per second square. It means we can say that the acceleration produced in the object is 9.8 meter per second square. Now let us calculate acceleration produced in the earth. So acceleration produced in the earth is calculated by acceleration of earth is equals to force divided by mass of the earth. That is, we can write capital F divided by capital M. Now let us substitute the values. So the value of capital F is G capital M small m divided by capital R square and whole divided by capital M. So again here you can see that capital M and capital M cancel out and what we get, G into small m divided by R square. So this is the value of acceleration produced in the earth. Now let us calculate the value. Suppose the mass is of 1 kilogram. Let us suppose that the considered object is of mass 1 kilogram. Now acceleration of the earth can be calculated as capital G into small m divided by capital R square Value of capital G is 6.67 into 10 to the minus 11. In place of small m, we can put 1 because here we have supposed the object mass is 1 kilogram and the radius of the earth, 6.4 into 10 power 6. So here square of this term. Now when you calculate this whole, then what you get? 1.63 into 10 to the power minus 24 meter per second square. Now students, it is clear that the acceleration produced in the earth is of the order of 10 to the power minus 24, which is very much less than 9.8 meter per second square. That is acceleration produced in the object. That's why we are not able to see the earth is moving towards the object. Although the earth is accelerating with a very little acceleration, this much acceleration towards the object, but this much acceleration is not experienceable. That's why we see the object is moving towards the earth, but we cannot see the earth is accelerating towards the object. So I hope it is clear. That's why we can say that from equation 2 and 3, it is clear that the object moving towards the earth with an acceleration of 9.8 meter per second square. However, the acceleration of the earth towards the object is of the order of 10 to the power minus 24 meter per second square. That is why the object moved towards the earth, but the earth does not move towards the object. Now we will calculate value of G on the surface of the moon. So students, like earth, if we consider any object situated on the surface of the moon, then that object will also experience a force because of the gravitational force of the moon. And if there is a force, there must be an acceleration. It means we can say an acceleration is produced in that object which is situated on the surface of moon because of the gravitational force of the moon. So let us calculate the value of G on the surface of moon. So if we consider an object situated on the surface of the moon, then the object experiences a force due to gravitation of the moon. The acceleration of the object due to gravitation of the moon is given by capital G into capital M divided by capital R square. Now students, here capital M is not the mass of earth. Capital M is mass of the moon. And also capital R is not the radius of the earth. Capital R is radius of the moon. Now let us substitute the values of capital G, capital M and capital R and calculate value of small g. So let us put, so we know mass of moon is 7.36 into 10 to the power 22 kilogram and radius of moon is 1.74 into 10 to the power 6 meter. So let us put these value in this equation in order to calculate value of G. So when we substitute these value, then we can say G on moon, that is acceleration due to gravity on the surface of moon, equals to 6.67 into 10 power minus 11, that is value of capital G, multiplied by mass, that is 7.36 into 10 power 22 of moon, and radius of the moon is 1.74 into 10 power 6 whole square. So when you calculate these quantities, then you get 1.62 meter per second square. Hence we can say value of G on the surface of moon is 1.62 meter per second square. Now we will try to find a relation between value of G on the surface of moon and on the surface of earth. So let us see. Relation between GE and GM. GE is the acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the earth and GM is acceleration due to gravity on the surface of moon. Let GE and GM be the acceleration due to gravity on the surface of the earth and moon respectively. Then we have GE, that is value of acceleration due to gravity on the surface of earth, 9.8 meter per second square. And GM we have calculated in previous slide as 1.62 meter per second square. Now let us divide GM by GE. Then what we get? When we divide GM, that is acceleration due to gravity on moon divided by GE, then we have 1.62 meter per second square divided by 9.8 meter per second square. When you calculate it, then you get 1 by 6. So we can write gm by ge here. Let us see. From here, what we can write, gm by ge is equals to 1 by 6. If you cross multiply, then what we get? gm is equals to 1 by 6 ge. That I have written here. So what we can conclude? We can conclude that the value of acceleration due to gravity on the surface of moon is 1 by 6 times the value of acceleration due to gravity on the surface of earth. So this is the relation between acceleration due to gravity on the surface of earth and surface of moon. So we can say that value of g on the surface of moon is 1/6 the value of g on the surface of the earth. Now let us see equations of motion for free fall. So students, you have learned that there are three equations for uniformly accelerated motion of objects in our previous chapter, that is motion. These three equations are v is equals to u plus at, s equals to ut plus half at square, and the third one is v square minus u square is equals to 2as. These three equations of motion are applicable for uniformly accelerated motion. Also students, you know that during free fall, the value of acceleration due to gravity, that is g, is also constant. Hence, we can apply these three equations of motion for free fall also. Okay, but keeping in mind with proper sign of g we have to use. We can replace a by g with proper sign in order to use these three equations. Now let us understand how to take sign of acceleration due to gravity, that is small g. So we take small g to be positive when it is in the direction of motion, and small g is taken to be negative when it opposes the motion. Now let us understand two cases here. First case, for downward motion. So for downward motion, this is the direction of motion and this is the direction of g. Students, you know, acceleration due to gravity is always acting vertically downward direction. So for downward direction, this is the direction of motion and this is the direction of g. So from this figure, it is clear that the direction of g is in the same direction of the motion. Hence, we can say for direction of motion, g is taken to be positive. Why? Because it is in the direction of motion. That is written here, as g is in the same direction of motion, so it is taken to be positive. Now let us understand for upward motion. So this is the direction of motion for upward motion and this is the direction of g. From this figure, it is clear that g is in opposite to the direction of motion. That's why we can say for upward motion, g is taken to be negative. Why? Because it is opposing the direction of motion. That is written here, as g is in opposite to direction of motion, so it is taken to be negative. So it is clear that for downward motion, g is taken to be positive, and for upward motion, g is taken to be negative. So always keep in mind. Now students, let us study two cases here. Case 1, when the object is just dropped from a height h above the surface of the earth. As from this figure, it is clear that there is a ball which is dropped from a certain height h towards the surface of the earth, and it takes t time to just touch the surface of the earth. Again, students, keep in mind that whenever an object is dropped from a certain height, then its initial velocity becomes 0. That's why here we have written u is equals to 0. Whenever an object is dropped, then its initial velocity will become 0. So here we can write initial velocity u is equals to 0 as object is dropped. Again, this is the case of downward motion. So for downward motion, you know, g is taken to be positive. Hence, in equations of motion, we replace acceleration a by positive g, as motion is along downward direction. Again, the object is covering a vertical distance. So in equations of motion, we can replace small s by h. Now let us use the three equations of motion in this particular case. So the first equation of motion is v is equals to u plus at. So here we place 0 in place of u, and in place of a we put positive g. Then after substituting this value, we get v is equals to gt. So this is the particular first equation of motion in this case. Now let us see the next equation of motion. The next equation of motion is s equals to ut plus half at square. So here we place h in place of s because the object is covering a vertical distance. When we place 0 in place of u, then ut term will vanish and we have half gt square because a is equals to positive g. So we can write h equals to ut term will vanish and we have half gt square. Again from here we can write 2h is equals to gt square or t is equals to under root 2h by g. So this is the time of fall. Time of fall means this is the time taken by the object to just touch the surface of the earth. Now let us see the third equation of motion in this case. So the third equation of motion is v square minus u square is equals to 2as. Again in this equation we place 0 in place of u because the object is dropped and a is replaced by positive g. Then what we get? V square is equals to 2gh as u is equals to 0 and a is equals to positive g and s equals to h. From here we can write v is equals to under root 2gh. So this is the velocity of the ball at the time of just reaching the earth. Now students, let us understand case B. When an object is thrown from ground in the vertically upward direction with an initial velocity u. So here in this figure you can see that a ball is thrown in upward direction with an initial velocity u. Again here students, keep in mind when the ball reaches at maximum height, then its velocity will become 0. In previous case we have learned that when an object is dropped from a certain height, then its initial velocity is 0. But when an object is thrown in upward direction and when it reaches at maximum height, then its final velocity v become 0. So always keep in mind. Again students, this is the case of downward motion. So acceleration g is taken to be negative. That's why here we have written a is equals to minus g as the motion is in vertically upward direction. Again at maximum height, velocity v becomes 0. Thus we can use here the equations of motion. From first equation v is equals to u plus at, what we have? In place of v we can put 0 and in place of a we can put minus g. So what we get? 0 equals to u minus gt. Why? As v is equals to 0 and a is equals to minus g. Now students, before going in detail, let us understand this case. Suppose there is an object which is thrown in upward direction. Then after reaching at maximum height, it starts coming towards the ground again. Suppose it takes t times to reach the maximum height. Then due to the symmetrical nature of motion, it takes the same t time to reach the ground again from the maximum height. This time is known as time of ascent, means the time taken by the object to reach the maximum height. And this time is known as time of descent, that is the time taken by the object to reach the ground again from the maximum height. It means in this case, that is from here to here. In this total motion, the time taken be capital T, which is equals to time of ascent plus time of descent. So keep in mind this thing. Now let us calculate the time of ascent and descent. So time of ascent, that is to reach the maximum height, is calculated as t is equals to u by g. From where does it come? Let us see. Here you can see we have u minus gt is equals to 0. So we can write u is equals to gt, and again t is equals to u by g. So the time of ascent is t is equals to u by g. Again, time of descent is equals to time of ascent, due to the symmetrical nature of motion. But the total time taken in this motion is capital T, which is equal to time of ascent plus time of descent. That is t plus t equals to 2t, and which is equals to 2 into u by g. So we can say in this whole journey, the time taken by the object to reach the ground again is 2u by g. Now let us use another equation in this particular case. So from the equation v square minus u square is equals to 2as, what we can write? In place of v, we can write 0. In place of u as it is. Now 2, and in place of a, we write minus g because the motion is in upward direction. And in place of s, we can write h. Again, when we rearrange this, then what we get? U square is equals to 2gh. From here, we can calculate the maximum height. H is equals to u square by 2g. H is equals to u square by 2g. It means if we know the initial velocity with which the object is thrown in upward direction, and we always know the value of g, then we can calculate the maximum height. Now students, let us solve some numerical problems. The first problem we have, a ball is thrown vertically upwards with an initial velocity of 30 meter per second. Taking g equals to 10 meter per second square, find the maximum height reached by the stone. So here in this problem, it is given that a ball is thrown in vertically upward direction. It means this is the case of upward motion. And for upward motion, we take acceleration as negative sign with g. And again, it is given initial velocity as 30 meter per second, and we have to calculate maximum height reached by the stone. So first let us collect the information given here. Initial velocity u equals to 30 meter per second. Value of g is given as 10 meter per second square, but we will use g with sign, that is negative sign. Let us suppose the maximum height reached by the stone be h. Then using the third relation, that is v square minus u square equals to 2as, what we have? In place of v, we can write 0, because for upward motion, when the object reaches maximum height, then its velocity will become 0. Also we put minus g in place of a, and in place of s, we can write h because the object is covering a vertical distance. Now let us rearrange this equation. Then what we have? So here we can write minus, in place of u, we can write 30 because it is given initial velocity as 30 meter per second. So minus square of 30 equals to minus 2 into 10 into h. When you rearrange this equation, then what we have? Minus 900 is equals to minus 20h, or we can write h is equals to 900 by 20, that is 45 meter. It means the maximum height reached by the stone is 45 meter. Now let us see the next problem. A ball is thrown up vertically, returns to the thrower after 6 seconds. Find A, the velocity with which it is thrown up, B, the maximum height it reaches, and C, its position after 4 seconds. Take g equals to 10 meter per second square. Again students, in this problem you can see that the motion is in upward direction, and whenever the motion is in upward direction, then we take a equals to, that is acceleration minus g. That is, here we use acceleration as minus 10 meter per second square. And you know that when the ball reaches at maximum height, then its velocity becomes 0. So we will use all this information in order to calculate the given parts. So first let the ball be thrown upward with an initial velocity u. And for upward motion, you know that a equals to minus g, that is minus 10 meter per second square. And also at maximum height h, velocity becomes 0, that is v equals to 0. Now students, let us understand. Now students, suppose the ball is thrown in upward direction and reaches to the thrower again. Then it is given in the question that in order to reach the thrower again, the total time taken is 6 seconds. It means in going from the thrower to the maximum height and again from the maximum height to the thrower again. So if 6 seconds is the total time, then we can say that it takes 3 seconds to reach the maximum height, and again it takes 3 seconds to reach the thrower again from the maximum height. So we can calculate the time taken to reach the maximum height, t equals to 6 by 2, that is 3 seconds. Now using the relation first, v equals to u plus at, we can calculate the initial velocity u. So how we calculate? In place of v, we can write 0. Why? Because at maximum height, velocity becomes 0. U we have to calculate, plus in place of a, we have to write minus 10. Why? Because the motion is in upward direction. And into t, that is 3 seconds. So when you rearrange this equation, then what you get? U equals to 30 meter per second. It means the initial velocity with which the ball is thrown in upward direction is 30 meter per second. Now let us see the next part. In the next part, we have to find the maximum height it reaches. So here we use the relation v square minus u square equals to 2as. Again we substitute the values. In place of v, we can write 0 because at maximum height velocity is 0. In place of u, we can put 30 as I have calculated here, and after that 2 into, in place of a, minus 10, and in place of s, we can write h. Again when you rearrange this, then what you get? 20h is equals to 900, which implies that h is equals to 45 meter. It means the maximum height reaches by the ball is 45 meter. Now let us move to the next part. In the next part, we have to calculate the position of the ball after 4 seconds. So let after 4 seconds, the ball is at a height h dash from the ground. So here we use relation s equals to ut plus half at square. From this relation, what we have? In place of s, we can write h dash. In place of u, we can write 30 as we have calculated the initial velocity is 30 meter per second. Into t, that is 4 seconds. Here it is given 4 seconds plus half into, in place of a, we can write minus 10 because the motion is in vertically upward direction, into t square, that is 4 square. So when you calculate these, then what we get? H dash is equals to 30 into 4, that is 120, minus half into 10, that is 5, into 16, that is 80. So 120 minus 80 equals to 40 meter. Hence we can say after 4 seconds, the position of the ball is 40 meter from the ground. So thank you students. In the next part, we will solve some more problems and also study about mass and weight. Thank you.